Mike, check. Yezzo. What's happening? Welcome in, y'all, to another episode of Mornings with Omar. And it's me, your host, of course, Omar. And I thank y'all for tuning in. We back again. I know it's been a while, but we here. I hope everybody's doing good, feeling good, looking good, and enjoying this fine Friday as you know it, you know? So, yeah, man, listen. It's been a while. We got a lot of topics to talk about, a lot of things to get into. Hopefully, we can touch everything, and hopefully, I don't forget anything. But yeah, we here, bro. Like, it's been a long couple weeks. Y'all know how I be doing, man. I don't like to come in here when I ain't in the best state of mind. So, I'm here again. And plus, I was on vacation again, so I ain't really have the opportunity to do the pod where I was, but we here now. I was thinking too while I was away, and I was like, damn, I know my people just probably like this guy, yo. He's like the worst podcaster ever. But the way I think about it, the way I see it, is like I'm probably the Lauryn Hill of podcasts, man. You know what I mean? That's probably what I am. And if y'all know anything about Lauryn Hill, then you know what it's like at her shows. And if you ever went to go see her, I had the opportunity to go see her live in South Carolina for like New Year's 2016 or something like that. Pretty cool. But if you know anything about Lauryn Hill shows, she wasn't on time. She was late to it. But it's all artistic and it's all creative process. That's why she says she's late to things and she misses shows and things like that, because it's all, it's art. So when she ain't for it, or she's just not in that right space, then she's either late or she doesn't show up. So I feel like that's probably the same with me. I'm gonna just go ahead and don myself the Lauryn Hill of podcasts, because I be doing the same thing. But like I said, I'm trying to do better. I'm trying to be better every day, and we on time this time, so it's a good thing to acknowledge and stuff like that. So like I said, man, welcome in. I hope everybody's doing well. Wherever you're tuning in at in the world, thank you for checking me out. If this is your first time listening, then welcome in, and just hope you enjoy it and you stick around. If you're coming back for second, third, fourth, 12th, 13th time, then hey, shout out to you, man. You the real MVP for being consistent listener through it all. But yeah, man, it's a lot of stuff happening, a lot of stuff going on. I guess I should start with the main thing that's going on. Derek Chauvin, he's been found guilty on 3 charges, and yeah, man. We talked about this before, and I told y'all that there was no way that I didn't think he was gonna be found guilty. Like, the prosecutor just laid out the best case ever. It didn't have to take this long, but it did for whatever reason. And he got found guilty, as he should, because he's a murderer, and murderers should be found guilty. It's not all the time that we get these outcomes. However, we're gonna embrace this one. We ain't gonna celebrate just yet, but we will embrace it, because it is a step in the right direction, at least for this situation. And hopefully he spends the rest of his natural life in prison where he belongs. So, I was listening, and I read that some of those maximums for those sentences is like 45 years for, I think, the second degree manslaughter, maybe. Then there's 25 years on the other charge, and then I think it's like another 25 on the other charge. So, you combine all that, he should spend the rest of his life in jail. However, you got to remember that there's also minimum sentences to these things. And it's possible that he makes some type of deal between now and 8 weeks from now when they do sentencing, that he gets some type of leeway, or he gets some special deal where you never know in these situations. So you got to be cognizant of these things. We got to keep paying attention, and we got to keep lobbying for this guy to get the maximum sentence, because he put in maximum effort to kill the young man George Floyd. So, he should get the max sentence. So hopefully that happens. Then maybe we can be in a celebratory mood. Till then, we're just gonna embrace this moment. And hopefully, like I said, man, hopefully justice prevails in this situation because there's a long history of justice not prevailing. And you know, shortly after that George Floyd verdict, there was news that I believe it was I think it was the young 16-year-old girl that was killed by police. Makia Bryan, I think her name was, shortly after the verdict. Now I didn't watch the body cam footage because, listen, if y'all know that, listen, it was a lot of stuff going on. We had the George Floyd incident, we had the trial, then we had the Dante Wright. Dante Wright was killed by police as well, and shortly after that, the Makia Bryant, she was killed, and I think someone else was killed by police too. Though I can't remember their name. I'm gonna try to find it and locate it before the show's over. However, it's been like back to back to back to back police shooting unarmed black people. And for the record, to keep the facts in mind, Makia Bryant, she did have a knife, and from what I heard is that she was being an aggressor in a situation and lunging at another female individual with said knife. So the police that was there, the officer, he decided to use deadly force, which is also excessive force, to to, I guess, alleviate the situation. Now I won't say alleviate, but I guess he decided to use deadly force. And so this caused a little uproar because at first it was, okay, this cop killed another unarmed black female, and then the story was, okay, she had a knife in her hand. So, and then people like, let's just say, I know it was a big story that LeBron James, basketball player, he had tweeted like, "You're next" to the police officer with his picture and his name after the incident happened without the facts. And then when I guess the facts was revealed, the body cam footage was made public, and people seen that she had, I guess, was charging at another young lady with a knife. Then he deleted the tweet, and he said, he's sorry and can't get emotional in these situations. And I guess what's going on is that everyone is kind of saying like, okay, the cop was in the right for using, deadly force in that situation. And that's not true. That's just totally false. That's totally, like, I don't care. Shooting someone with a gun it should not be the first option. It should not be the main option that you go to. You have a taser on your hip. So what we learned in the Dante Wright situation was that cop, that police officer who was a female, she said that she thought she had her taser, not her weapon, on her. So she accidentally killed him. That's basically what she said. And in this situation, instead of using the taser, this cop decides to use a gun, when a taser would have been just as effective because it would have hindered her from moving any further. She would have probably just stopped right there in her tracks and just fell out, by getting tased. Personally, I've never been tased, but I've seen people get tased, and it's not the you can't just keep moving and maneuvering how you were doing. So I feel like in that situation, a taser would have been very appropriate for Miss Micaiah, or I'm not sure how to pronounce her name, but the respect is definitely there. Micaiah Bryant, and unfortunately, she's no longer here with us, and she was just 16, man. I remember when I was 16, and I was out here, just living a 16-year-old life, and we had altercations when I was kids, and we had fist fights and things like that. And I mean, I can't, like, off the top of my head think of a situation where weapons was involved, but either way, like, if we just having an altercation, man, I would hate for the police to come and shoot one of us, you know? Because, I mean, you don't know what she would have been able to do with the knife. However, like I said, excessive force, deadly force, I don't think was necessary. Now, maybe it was a spur of the moment thing. Maybe he didn't have time to react and whatever the case may be. Like I said, I didn't watch the video because my brain and my mental had enough of seeing police kill black people. Like, I can't watch it anymore. There was the one incident. I don't think it was Dante, right? I think this is the incident I'm thinking of, where it could be the Dante Wright one. It's so many happening that I can't, it's unfortunate that I can't keep up, man. But when a young man was running, but see, I think this was a male that shot. Yeah, it was a male. I gotta figure out this name. So it was a young male running, and he was unarmed. And then the police was yelling to him to stop. So he stopped, and the minute he stopped, the police shot him. And then the police went up to him, and I think this might have been in I don't remember where, but yeah. And then he went up to him, asking him, "Are you all right, buddy?" and stuff like that. But it's like, yo, you just shot a young man, and it's been a lot, man. It's been a lot of police killing black people, brown people over the last couple weeks, and it's been weighing on me a lot, you know. And you know, you really got to protect your energy. You got to protect your mental. You got to protect your peace when things like this is happening, because they'll make you normalize these things like, oh, it's just another cop killing a black man or a black female, and you know, people will be outraged and people will protest and people will march and all that shit. But honestly, listen, I'm gonna be the one to tell you that shit don't matter. It doesn't change anything. These protests, these marches, people, listen, black people, brown people been marching since 1960 motherfucking, since the 1960s. And you see where, I mean, if you don't know, like I said, people been marching since the 60s. That was what, 60 years ago. You know what I mean? And what did we get? A holiday for Martin Luther King from that? And I mean, I know we got the Civil Rights Act. However, you know, the more things change, the more things, they stay the same. So it's like, yo, it's time to like really initiate like actual change, like substantial, tangible change that people can see and that actually affects the communities. Because these cops is out here running around with impunity, like without impunity and with immunity, they killing people and nothing's happening to them. I mean, yes, Derek Chauvin, he's going to jail. We don't know how long, but he's going to jail. But it's too many instances where, you know, these cops are just doing what they do, being reckless, acting like they're not trained. And I seen a meme on social media, and it was basically saying like, like cops, like black cops, they have the same training as these white officers, and you don't see them running around killing unarmed people. However, there's disproportionate amount of white cops, officers killing black and brown people. You know what I mean? And that's something that should be alarming to people. That should raise red flags to people. That should give you cause to pause. You should be like, wait a minute, how is this happening disproportionately in this situation, but we don't even see it in this other situation? And I'm not saying it doesn't happen, because I don't know, but from what we see, it's not right, and something needs to change from it. We have these leaders that's in offices that are supposed to, you know, protect us and protect the people and, you know, provide some type of comfort to us when we're in need in these situations. However, yet we see, you know, Joe Biden going on saying that, you know, he made a comment, oh, it's just not, the problem with America is not just African American people. And then he alludes to some other shit, but like, Listen to that. Listen to that comment. The problem with America is not just African American people. You know what I mean? And then I think Nancy Pelosi the other day after the the Derek Chauvin, oh yeah, the George Floyd trial, when Derek Chauvin was found guilty, she made a statement. George Floyd sacrificed his life, and I'm paraphrasing, for the greater good, you know. And it's like, no, he didn't sacrifice his life. His life was taken from him. You know what I mean, it's a big difference. And these people are out of touch, and they don't know what the fuck's going on. They don't know how to even talk to people because they haven't been in these streets. They haven't been in these communities, and they don't even know what to say in these situations because they don't care. That's really what it comes down to. They don't care. All they want is to be in the positions of power. They want to be the face of the government, but they don't want to actually enact change. And they want to say, oh, we have to go through this, and we have to go through the House of Representatives, and we got to go through the Senate, and we got to go through Congress, and this, that, and the third. But we just seen the last president sign executive order, whatever the hell he wanted, into law. And it's like, sometimes you just gotta, like, if you really care about something, you just gotta do it. Like, if these people in office now are saying, yes, we care about the black people and the brown people and African Americans in this country, but they're not providing no help for the black and brown people. They're not giving no resources to black people. They're not doing anything to really help us get out of this situation that we've been in for hundreds of years. And I don't know about y'all, but I'm tired of it. And I'm tired of people depending on these people to change things, or just sitting back and marching and all this shit that doesn't do anything. You march, they say, oh yeah, peaceful protest, blah blah blah, but then you see National Guards out there and you see police out there, and listen, it's just a lot. And I just want people to really, in your local communities and your neighborhoods and the cities you reside, make sure you vote the right people into those offices, into the judges. Judges get voted into. Vote for the right judges. Vote for the city councils and school boards, and all these positions matter because that's where the change starts. I mean, the federal government doesn't give a fuck about black people. They proved it time and time again by always siding with white supremacists and the white demographics of the South and stuff like that. It's been that way since the beginning of time, since everything was founded, and after the Civil War, and after these things where black people were supposed to get these resources and those resources, and they reneged on everything. I promise you can fact check this stuff. Fact check all the promises that the federal government was supposed to give to black people, and see how many times they started to, and then they took it back, or they gave them one thing and then they gave these other people something else because they gave us something. You know what I mean? So it's a lot, but we're gonna embrace this Derek Chauvin guilty verdict, and we're gonna pay attention to see if in 8 weeks he gets sentenced to the maximum as he deserves, and we're gonna pray for these families that's out here losing loved ones at the hands of police. So yeah, man, definitely prayers to everyone that's just been going through this, especially the families. Even as us not family members, we're still affected by this. Like, my psyche is still affected by this. Every time I'm scrolling on social media or I'm looking on the news and I read that another black person was killed, it affects me, and it bothers me, and it just kind of, I think James Baldwin had said that like, to be black in this country is to, like, always be in a rage or some shit like that. to be a Negro in this country and to be relatively conscious is to be in a rage almost all the time. James Baldwin, novelist. And, I felt that, I truly feel that way because, the more I learn and the more I do my research and homework on just, history of black people and the history of this country. And, it's like, like they really going out their way to minimize the contributions that blacks and African people made to this world. They're really trying to minimize, you know, um, just what we can do out here in society. They're trapping us in the ghettos, and they they're sending police in there to police us when we don't need policing. I mean, we need resources. We need better education. We need economic freaking like reform, like we need access to capital. We need to be able to open up our own businesses. Um, we need better housing. We need better food in our communities. You know what I mean? All we have is fast food and unhealthy food, or food with GMOs in it and steroids and shit like that. Like we need better of these things that we don't have. You can like go to your suburban neighborhood and you won't see freaking chemtrails in the sky. You won't see pollution in the sky. You won't see trucks riding around. There's just with all these emissions in the air, and you'll see food markets, and you'll see what's the Amazon, Whole Foods. You'll see Whole Foods and organic foods, in their markets. And then we have Walmart and we have Target, and Target's a better step than Walmart, but is it really better quality food at the end of the day? Not really, just maybe slightly, but it's still not good enough. You know what I mean? And it's just been too long where we been getting the short end of the stick. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna leave it at that, man. But it's been a lot of stuff going on, and I hope everybody's just finding a way to stay grounded and find peace and meditate or do your yoga and take care of yourself, man. Especially take care of your mental in times like this, because it can get rough. And another thing I learned was that the month of April is a time where it's like Hitler's birthday. Hitler's birthday is in April, and a lot of white supremacists and these white organizations will tend to do mass shootings and these murders, like these unarmed killings of black people. And just it tends to be a lot of more of that stuff happening in April. And if you remember, then we had like 2 mass shootings that just happened, and I'm pretty sure they were both in like early April. And then we had like 4 black people get killed in the month of April that were unarmed, and one with a knife, so it's a lot of stuff going on. And you gotta know that. Listen, you don't know these things because you're not supposed to know these things. You're not conditioned to even seek this information. So listen, like I always tell y'all, when I know something, I'm gonna bring it to y'all, because I feel like somebody gotta spread the word, and somebody gotta educate not just my people, but all people, because it's really designed for us not to know, not to seek, not to thrive. But we're gonna change that in due time, so stay strong, kings and queens. Keep your head up. Exercise, all these things that's gonna keep you healthy and moving forward and in a good space. So definitely. Outside of that, man, I just want to tell y'all, like, identity is so important in this, just in development, and knowing who you are and knowing who your family is and things like that. So what the identity that people's been lacking, especially for black people, and this applies to other people as well, just like especially adolescents growing up, when they lack their identity, they don't know who they are, the type of person they are, because they're so used to, you know, listening to what other people think they are, who they think they are, or, listening to people tell them they're not good enough, or, you don't know this, that, and the third. So identity is like foundational to like really maximize your potential. Because if you know who you are, and you know who your family is, and you know who your relatives are, and you know who your ancestors are, and the contributions that they made to, your life and other people's lives, and the city that you're in, the contributions they made there. So let's just say, for instance, uh, Jeff. Jeff is in a family, right? And Jeff's mom is a pastor, or not a pastor, a dentist. You know what I mean? And then Jeff's dad is a lawyer, you know. And then Jeff's uncle or his granddad was a military officer, and his grandma was a nurse, and his great grandma was a fucking, whatever, a teacher. Just like, if you know who your people are, and you know that they've been in prominent roles, or they've been like, just better than just a regular worker, a regular 9 to 5 worker that's just like trying to pass on by. They actually held roles in the community that affected lives. So just think that if you knew your great 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 people, like great great grandparents, great great uncles and aunts and cousins and shit like that, and that would kind of give you a sense of pride. That would kind of give you some type of like a family pride, or just something that makes you want to just be better than just your average. So if you hide those things, excuse me, if you hide those things, and you hide maybe the culture that your family used to also belong to, and how they used to have like a collectivistic culture, and just how they maneuvered, then you kind of lose that identity. You kind of lose that sense of purpose, and that sense of family, and that's what's happening. Like, they don't know who their great, uncles are, and they don't know the type of culture that they grew up in, and how close knit everyone used to be, because we're programmed, and this is broader than just black people, although it still applies. We're programmed to think individualistically. We're not conditioned to think about, our family. We're conditioned to think, okay, we need to grow up, and we need to move out, and we need to get our own apartment, and we need to get our own house, and we need to start our own family. When in actuality, we have all those things. We have family at home, and they may not be the best family, but we have family, and instead of going out, if your mom has 7 kids and all 7 kids move out of her house and go get their own apartments, now that's 7 people spending roughly probably close to $1,000 in rent. Let's just say between like $700 and $1,000 in rent. That's $7,000 out of that household, that mama's household. That's going towards someone else's. That's putting money in other people's pockets. And damn, I can't even speak. And that's not even accounting for, the groceries that each person's buying, and the entertainment that they're spending, to entertain themselves, and the money they spending on, going out or with their friends, or on clothes, and all this money that's going out of the family into other people's pockets. We're taught to think like that. And now mom is struggling on the bills, and now she can't pay the mortgage because all the kids then grew up and moved out. And sometimes, kids don't even, like, the children, the grown adults, Grown children, they don't even have, like, sometimes they don't even have kids, but they still not even helping mom dukes out or pops out because, they thinking about themselves. You know what I mean? And it's like, yo, you gotta go back. You gotta go back to the beginning where it started. You know what I mean? Because if your mom or your dad has a house, you gotta think like they must have really worked their tails off to get in that position, because it's hard for black people, brown people, or just, adults that's just trying to make it in general to, acquire homes. It's not easy to buy a house. It's not easy to get that loan for a home, uh, especially when you living in poverty, or you don't make enough money, or your credit score is not right. I mean, these banks are finding any reason to not lend you money, you know, and that's why communities are getting gentrified, because there's people with credit scores 800, or they'll say that you can't live here if you don't make 3 times the amount of the rent here, or it's like these crazy standards that they set and that they know people that come from poverty can't live up to them. You know what I mean? Yeah, they can probably afford to live there. Obviously, if it's just $800 a month, why do I have to make $2,400 um to live here, or when I can make it happen with 1,600 or with 1,700? You know what I mean? Like, you don't know my situation, you don't know my bills and shit like that. You don't know, like, give someone a chance, So just I say all that to say, I mean, don't forget about your family that you have. Now, if you don't have a family, that's one thing. If you just having disagreements with your family, I mean, like, you got to work these things out, because life is short, and you got to cherish these moments and cherish the time while you're here, because we ain't gonna be here forever. And if everybody's out here on their own, trying to make it on their own, the family's never gonna thrive. Can't build an empire. I mean, you can build an empire by yourself, but it's much easier with family and, maybe close friends at least. So you gotta find a way to make it happen. It's not impossible. Nothing's impossible. Anything's achievable if you try and if you plan and you utilize your resources. So things to just keep in mind, man. That's all. Identity's important. Just know who you are. If you don't know who you are, just do some research. If you're a Mexican American and you're told that do things the American way, or whatever, like, yeah, you kind of gotta acquiesce to the American standards. However, you don't forget where you come from. Don't forget your homeland. Don't forget, that you should be proud to be who you are. If it's Mexican, if it's Asian, if it's African, if it's freaking whatever, South American, Canadian, whatever. Like, be proud of who you are. And being proud of who you are does not mean that you're racist towards other people. It does not mean you have prejudice towards other people. It just means you're proud. You're a proud being. You should celebrate your culture. You should celebrate, the things that you like to do and the things that your people like to do. If freaking people that freaking live in Oklahoma like the square dance, then by all means just embrace square dance. And if people up in DC like the go-go, then let them go-go. And if people in, I mean, y'all get the picture. I ain't gotta beat a dead horse, but yeah, man, this shit's important, So, to switch gears, let's talk about stocks a little bit. It's been the month started out rough for stocks, I'm not gonna lie. And everything was trending downward and it was all bad. But the last couple weeks, or at least like the last week and a half, the stock's been turning around and things have been looking good. So, Dogecoin had its run. If y'all remember way back when, maybe like episode 3, 4, I did an episode and I inquired if Dogecoin was a new Bitcoin. Um, and obviously that was probably a little premature because it's not Bitcoin yet. Bitcoin's worth like $60,000, and Dogecoin is only at like 30 cent. You know, but Dogecoin was at 3 cent. It was at 5 cent. You know what I mean? And now it's up to 30 cent, 38 cent, 35 cent. You know, it's hovering around there. So, you know, if you had your money in there early like I did, then you know you came up a little bit. You had a nice little run, and you know you wasn't late to the party. However, you know, for those people that are still like maybe apprehensive on if these things are real or can you really make money in this stuff, yes, you can. And I would say that you should try to invest still in Dogecoin because it'll make another run. Now, that run may not be for another month or so because Doge didn't have its run until probably like 4 months later. Like, it was at 3 cent in January, and it's April now, and you know it had its run. But I mean, it's still probably worth to get your money in there, get some money in there, not all of it, and it'll probably make another run here shortly. But you got to be patient. You can't just put your money in there tomorrow and then think in 2 days you're gonna flip and make a couple hundred. Like, it just may not work like that. You got to just excuse me. You got to just what I mean? You got to know when to go. And sometimes these people, you got to be aware that some people, a lot of people on these internet, they do what's called a pump and dump. I mean, they'll pump up these stocks and then make people go buy in, and then they'll sell all their stocks to make the profit. And then now you're left with stocks that's not going to rise no more. Like, it's not going to go up no more. So you just got to be mindful. You got to do your homework. Try to see what's the next wave is. Try to pay attention to what's going on in society, because that's going to really tell you where to put your money. You can always put your money in safe places like Apple and McDonald's and Walmart and maybe even Amazon still. Listen, I'm not a stock expert. I don't claim to be, but I just try to pay attention to what's going on, because that's going to tell me what things are going to go up, what things are going to go down. So like for instance, like I said, the movie theaters is about to open up here shortly. If they didn't already, like I think some did open up in certain parts of the country, but I know this Mortal Kombat movie that comes out today on HBO Max, it also comes out in theaters. And this is probably a good time where if you had some AMC stock like I do, then you know that it's probably going to make a run. And if it makes said run, then yeah, I mean, we up. And then obviously after these events, like when big movies come out, and if they do or in theaters, then it's possible that AMC stock may go from $10 to $18, in a day or two, and then it might just go back down to $9. But when it goes up like that, that's when you gotta make your profit, get your profit, because now, especially with AMC, you're not gonna be able to keep that money in there and then think it's gonna just keep going up. Like, AMC's not doing that no more. It's gonna probably make runs here and there, but it's not gonna be up there in the $50 and the $60 or the $100 no more. Same with GameStop. Like, that's a little more tricky, because there's people that like are trying to just keep GameStop afloat, like, but there's also people that's just running with the dumps and running with the pump and dumps. So when it goes up, they taking all their money out and then it drops again. So these things are tricky and you got to pay attention to them. But just pay attention to the market, pay attention to society, and what people are doing outside, and that'll kind of guide you a little bit. And it's not going to take you. It's not going to always be definitive answers. You're not going to always be right. I lost money. You know what I mean? It's just a part of the game. Sometimes you got to take $10 losses and just keep it pushing. Put that money somewhere else. Sometimes you take a $30 loss or a $50 loss. But you got to try to minimize the losses and maximize the gains. So just be mindful where you put your money. Do your homework. Don't take all your advice from me because, like I said, I'm not a stock expert. But just you should definitely be investing though. If you're not investing at this point and you can invest, invest. Even if you only invest $25 a week, or when you get paid every 2 weeks, if you can only invest $50 every paycheck, do it because you can put $50 towards. Like I said, AMC stock is about $10 a share, $9 a share. That's 5 shares of AMC. You know what I mean? Or you can go to the penny stocks, and you can get some cheap stocks, and they have them. You just got to do your homework on which ones that, because you got to remember, like, the penny stocks, when you buy those, you want to buy, like, at least 100 shares of those. So if you see a stock that's worth, like, 88 cents, you know what I mean, and you think it might go up to $2, or it might go up to $1.50 in 2 weeks or whatever, buy 100 shares at 88 cents. When that shit go up to $1.50, you gonna make your bread. You cash out. You know what I mean? Because let's just do some quick math here. If you got 100 shares, right, at 88 cents, then you gonna make $88 on that stock. So I mean, you'll be sitting at, like I said, $88. And then if you still got them 100 shares and they worth 88 cents, but then the stock goes up to 150. Now you up. I mean, 150. Like, you up that difference. You know what I mean? So it's you gotta know what stocks to invest in. You gotta know how to invest. You can't just like go try to buy, like, don't buy like half or and thirds of a share of a stock. You know what I mean? Because you're not going to really make your money. Own the whole share of a stock. You got to buy stocks in whole shares. That's how you really get the money. You know what I mean? Buy it in hundreds. If you can get hundreds of a stock, do it that way. But more importantly, just do your homework. And, maybe it's good to get half a share in this for whatever reason. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not the stock expert, but maybe there's a good reason to do it, But either way, try to invest and get some money working for you. Because even if your portfolio gains, if it goes up 10%, then, I mean, if you got 1,200 in your portfolio and it goes up 10%, then you just made an extra $120. You know what I mean? So even if small percentages can be big percentages. 1% of a billion is a million. So, the more it is, even that percent can still get you a far way. And I'm trying to reach that 1% of a billion, for now, until I can get 2% of a billion, 3% of a billion, 10% of a billion. You know what I mean? 1% of a million. You know what I mean? So you got to start somewhere, and it doesn't really matter. You got to do what you got to do. But anyway, let's switch gears from there. So, one of the favorite things I caught recently was the Drink Champs with Cam on it. Anybody that knows me knows I was like a big Dipset fan back when Dipset was out, when they had their run. I used to, I love Dipset. The swag that they had, the music that they put out, everything was just so cool and fly about them. So it was good to listen to Cam on Drink Champs. Drink Champs is by Nori, for those that don't know. But he interviews people, and it was a real good interview. Surprisingly, Cam didn't drink. He ain't smoke on there. He probably didn't want to say anything crazy, but it was good to just get some insight on some of the things that he faced when he was coming up, as a rapper and an artist and a ghostwriter and stuff. He spoke on some stories about the time, I guess, Old Boy was popping, and then Jay-Z, before that though, I guess Cam did a verse for PD Crack from State Property, and then Jay-Z he made them delete the Cam verse off the PD Crack song, So and then Hove did the old boy. He did like a remix to it. He put a verse on it after old boy was popping, and I guess Cam had passed by him in the studio, and then Hove was like, "Yo, I put a verse on there for you. I mean, go check that out." And then Cam, he was like, I guess he was just like kind of was like, all right, whatever. Went in the studio, told the engineer or the producer, whoever it was, yo, delete that verse, yo, and delete the whole Jay-Z verse from the song, yo. And that's just, it's so super petty. And I only hope to be that petty for real. But I just thought that was funny. And there's you got to catch that interview because he tells some good stories on there, gets some good insight on there. And then I think Nori even teased about Drake being on Drink Champs. So, that's going to, I think they did like a photo op for real. So that's going to be crazy if and when that drops. The Drake Drink Champs is going to go crazy. I know Joe Budden mad because I know he been wanting that Drake interview for a minute. And he'll probably get it at some point, but it's looking like Nori got the Drink Champs Drake interview, and that's gonna be crazy. It's probably gonna be in Drake's house, his fucking mansion and shit like that. But that was something good that I saw recently. Another thing that I saw was, I don't know if I spoke about this last time, but it was a show on HBO Max called Exterminate All the Brutes, and basically it's about a man who's like, he's doing research on, it's like the extermination of like the history of like his culture and his family and stuff like that. It's really good. I'm a couple episodes in. I didn't finish the series yet. The series is only 4 episodes, so I only got 2 more. But it's pretty good. It's insightful, and it kind of goes back on to what I said a little bit ago about just knowing your identity, knowing where you come from, knowing that it's like a conscious effort by people in higher positions to keep certain people from knowing their history and where they came from and things like that. So it's a really good show to on that type of topic. I finished the show Into the Storm on HBO Max. Listen, I like HBO Max, man. They have a lot of good docs on there, a lot of good shows on there. But I watched the show Into the Storm, and it was basically about the QAnons. I don't know if y'all heard of that little movement, the Q movement, QAnon. But it was good, and it talked about how, where QAnon started, like back in like 2016, and it's about like a guy that was on like these little dark websites, and they was promoting conspiracy theories and Pizzagate and Clintons and pedophilia, all that stuff. And then like recently, the Trump campaign, they used that to gain followers and gain momentum for the election and all that stuff. So it really kind of just dives into the whole QAnon movement and who's behind it and how it started, who created it, who's Q, because it's about a guy who's Q, and he's the one that posts these conspiracy these I don't want to call them conspiracy theories, but he posts these theories to like a board or like some type of web page, and then people like they take it and they interpret it how they want to interpret it. But it was really good. It's very insightful. At the end, I think this was like 6 episodes, so it's not really that long. But I guess his mission is to try to find out who Q is, and I won't say he didn't find out who Q is, but I can say that he did find out who Q is. You really just gotta watch it if you're just into like how these people, if you're into that movement or you're just curious about the movement, then definitely watch that, because the guy did a great job on just like, because he really like tracked it from like 2016, 2017 all the way up to 2021, like up until this year, up until that Capitol siege. Like he did a great doc. It's really good. So that's another thing that I saw recently that I thought was pretty cool. And anybody that's into that type of stuff, check it out, man, on HBO Max. It's good stuff. Exterminate All the Brutes. and Into the Storm. Those two things, HBO Max. Plus, Mortal Kombat comes on HBO Max today. So definitely check that out too, because I'm gonna be checking that out. I finished Snowfall. I finally finished season 4. Like I said, I've been on vacation, back to back. You know what I mean? I like to be on vacation. I like to just be out in the world. But I finally finished it, and I guess it's probably not too. At this point, everybody probably seen it. So listen, yeah, it might be a spoiler alert. So if you didn't see it, you might have to fast forward this a little bit. But it's crazy, yo. Cause all right, so I don't even know where to start, man. But shit got exposed. People start getting exposed. The CIA agent Teddy McDonald, Reed Thompson, aka Reed Thompson. You know, the journalist, the reporter. She tried to expose him, and she was going to put out his whole name. She already put out his alias, Reed Thompson, but she was threatening to put out his name. Franklin's dad was about to expose everything, and it was all about to just go downhill. Louis got shot. It was so much happening, but so where it ended, you gotta watch it if you didn't. But where it ended, where the fucking season 4 ended, was so Franklin's dad and Franklin's mom decides to go to Cuba to avoid any further damage to, Reed Thompson and Franklin's, business dealings that they have, because Reed got fired from the CIA essentially, and Franklin was out of the plug. Man Boy and one dude, I can't remember his name, but Man Boy and his sister, and then his sister's boyfriend. Yeah, I mean, they all died. Yeah, I mean, trying to go after Leon and Franklin. And then, like I said, Franklin's mom and dad, they went to Cuba to try to avoid everything. But then, what's his name? Reed showed up in Cuba looking for Franklin's dad, because Franklin's dad was on a rampage to take him down. So he showed up with a gun in hand. Yeah, I mean, but then we don't know if he killed him. Like, we don't know if Reed killed Franklin's dad or not. But Franklin didn't even know that Reed went to Cuba after his pops. And then, listen, man, Snowfall's lit, and that's been one of my favorite shows since I watched it. And I was bullshitting on. It was crazy as I bullshitted when it was like still in season 3, and I watched the first episode, and I was like, I don't really like this, but I'm so happy I just continued to watch it, because it's definitely one of the best shows that I've seen in life. And I've seen people saying it's better than The Wire. Listen, I'm not one of those people. I'm not going to tell you it's better than The Wire, because it's not. But it's definitely it's probably up there competing with Power for sure. Power had a good little run, but then they got a little weird towards the end. So, it's probably up there with them. Although the first couple seasons of Power, them shits was crazy. So, it's a good show though. Nonetheless, it's definitely worth the watch. I finished it, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Yeah, and I really liked it. Another show that I was watching, this one's on Netflix. By the way, Snowfall's on Hulu, if you were wondering. But I watched this show on Netflix called This Is a Robbery, about the biggest art heist in world history. And it's crazy because, I think I did talk about this on the last episode. But yeah, so, I'm in school, and I'm in college still. And I'm in this art class, so I'm just, learning about art and whatnot. And then in the This Is a Robbery show series, they stole paintings that's worth $500 million. You know what I mean? $500 million. And they basically trying to figure out if the guards was involved, if this art thief that is a local and he's known for stealing art, if he did it, and or if it's an inside job. And they're basically trying to figure out where is this art at, because you can't really sell that art. They still like a Rembrandt piece, and they still like some old ancient Chinese stuff and other art pieces that are just worth hella money. Like I said, it's half a billion, $500 million worth of art that's stolen, and it's really good because I'm into documentaries and weird stuff, and it kind of makes me wonder, like, yo, who stole this? Who stole this art, and where's it at now? I mean, because honestly, if I stole the art, I wouldn't sell it. I would just keep it, and I'm an art type of guy. I like art, so I would just keep it and just hang it up. And then if I died or when I die, I just like try to pass it off. I mean, just keep trying to pass it off down the line until somebody can find a way to sell it and make a crazy come up. You know, I mean, you're not gonna get the 500 million that it's worth, because that's like, you're gonna have to sell it like publicly for that much. But you could probably still make 30, 40, 50 million off that art, and shit, that's a game changer. That's life changing for you and your kids and your kids' kids. You know, so listen, whoever got that art, they somewhere just sitting on the bank, but you know, they can't really do nothing with it for now until they find a way. And this stuff happened, I think, in 1990, March 1990. That art heist happened in Boston, and yo, still to this day, no one knows what happened. Oh man, but I don't think there's anything else that I've seen recently that really piqued my interest or is worth talking besides the things that I mentioned already. But I'm gonna definitely watch that Mortal Kombat, and I'll give y'all a review on that soon. But yeah, man. All right. Outside of shows, I have been reading some cool books recently, and I'll just go ahead and give y'all a couple of those titles for good old sake. So I've been reading this show. So look at me, reading this story called "The Greatest Story Never Told," and it's by Lena Cantrell, Cantrell. And in this story, it's a scientific inquiry into the evidence of the fall of man from a higher civilization in antiquity. And that basically just means like in ancient times. So it's really good. And this young lady, well, she's not a young lady, but this woman, she wrote this book for her what's it called when you go for your doctorates, for fuck, I can't think of the name, I'm blanking on it, but she wrote this to get her doctor's degree, and it's really good, and it's factual as well, and it's also in like the Library of Congress. And the story is long as shit. I ain't even get through it all. It's mad chapter. There's 44 parts to this, and I'm only in part 1. But it's really good. Like the first part, it's called the Theogony, and it's about the early gods that were here on this earth way back when. Way back before any of us were here. And before any of us knew what the fuck a TV was, like way back. And it's kind of, I would say, like, it's not an easy read, especially if you don't, like, I did have to look up some things just by, like, I'm reading something and I don't know what this word means, or I don't know who this figure is. So I would look it up just to kind of, do some more, research and stuff like that. But I was pleasantly surprised to find out like that this stuff was true. And you can also you can Amazon search this book. It's called, like I said, it's called The Greatest Story Never Told, and it's by Lena Cantrell. and you'll see that this book is worth like $1,000. Uh, and you can read the reviews on it on the Amazon, and you'll see that what these people are talking about, and it really it's really going in depth about from the beginning of time, those people. It's a scientific inquiry, so it's like it's scientifically driven, and it's not like she just made up this shit and put it in the book. It's in the Library of Congress, like I said, so it's a pretty important book. So just if y'all are into like learning about this type of stuff, I'll just tell you what some of the chapters about. So like I said, the first chapter is called Those Magnificent Gods and Their Flying Machines. The second chapter is called The One True Indra. Then we got chapter 4, The Prisoner of Eden. Chapter 5, The Children of God. Chapter 6, The Children of Gods. Chapter 7, The Three Worlds. Chapter 8, The Angel Gene. Chapter 9, The Sun Children. You know what I mean? And then what we got in part 2, The World Under the Gods. The Taking of Jerusalem. Adventures in the Underworld. Part 3, we got Exodus. The Disc of Death. Life in Egypt under Amun Ra. Like, Amun Ra was a god in ancient Egypt. And that's like, this stuff is facts. This stuff really happened. So this is all, part 3. Egyptian teratology and physiology. The final days. The resurrection. The Hawaiians. Like, it's really interesting. And I just recommend that if anybody's like into like history and things like that, then they should check out this book. And I read it on Scribd, SCRIBD. It's an app, and it has plenty of books on there that you pay for the subscription, and you could just read all these books for free. And that's how I read the book. Because I wanted to pay the $1,000 for the book, but also I have other fucking responsibilities, so I can't necessarily do that. But hopefully one day, I will buy the book, and I will have it so that I can pass it on to, my offspring and their offspring, so that people can learn like the stuff that isn't really taught in school. And there's a reason that it's not taught in school, because, the Pope and the Vatican out there in fucking wherever the fuck the Vatican is, they sign off on all the history books that are in the Western world. So if you ever wondered why, they don't teach enough African American history in your school, or they only teach you about European history and what the Europeans did, well, there's a reason for that. And now it's the Vatican. So another book I was reading was The Royal Tombs of Ancient Egypt, and that's by Aidan Dotson. That's also on the Scribd app. And I'm reading a book by Frank Joseph, The Lost Treasure of King Juba. The Evidence of Africans in America Before Columbus, which is also true that Africans were in America before Columbus. Africans expanded the whole globe prior to any Europeans doing so. And then I also was reading The Development of Race. It's a journal by, let me get that man's name. It was by a white author, and his name is Alexander Francis Chamberlain. The Journal of Race Development. And I didn't read the whole journal because I only cared about one specific part in the journal, and that's called The Contribution of the Negro to Human Civilization. And this is a free journal that you can read if you just type in the Journal of Race Development into Google, and it'll pop up, and you can download the PDF for free into your phone or on your computer. And like I said, I was focused on the contribution of the Negro and human civilization, because I wanted to see what a European person and this was written in 1910, what they considered the African contributions to be. And it was very interesting to find out that they also agreed that, the Africans traversed the globe before anyone else did, even in Asia, even in fucking America, obviously in Africa, even in Europe. Africans were there before anyone else was there. I mean, and they brought knowledge and they brought civilization to all these places, and that's why they you can find traces of African roots in Europe, in Asia, in Mexico, in South America, in United States of America. I mean, everywhere you can find these traces, you can find these you can either find writings, you can find like some form of hieroglyphs, you can find either the people, dark skinned people with African features or melanated people. You could just find these things, and like I said, the Journal of Race Development. I didn't finish that yet because I'm reading a lot of things, so I don't really have the opportunity to finish things because these things are long, and after a few chapters, then I need a break, and stuff is draining to read a lot, read. It makes me tired, so. But that's just something that I was reading as well, because I like to try to educate myself and try to see what other people write about, the history of African and African American people, along with what, obviously African and African American people write about the history of us. So it's good to see two different perspectives, and it's good to see that those perspectives still align. And it kind of just goes to show you why, slaves were not allowed to read or write, because white people were writing the truth in books. And just think, like, if a slave or many slaves were able to read these books that white people were writing back then on what black people were doing prior to the fucking Europeans coming down and, just taking over through religion, basically. So, yeah, man, it's a lot of history been whitewashed, a lot of history been rewritten, a lot of history is false. And you really have to do your research to find this stuff out, to find the truth out. This is something I've been watching, Hidden Colors. It's basically a documentary on, the hidden truth and the hidden colors that are kept away from, black and brown people intentionally. And you can watch these videos for free on Vimeo. It's an app. If you search in Hidden Colors, there's like 5 or 6 parts. I watched the first one, I watched the second one, I watched the third one, and I watched the 5th one. I tried to watch the 4th one when I was on the plane, but for some reason it didn't load, so I got to go back and watch that one. But yeah, I watched these and I learned a lot, and it really changed my mind, my perspective, and my outlook in this world. And anybody that's black or brown, I suggest that you watch these as well, and just learn a little bit about, the history that you haven't been told, and just get a little enlightened, because the more you know, the better you can do for yourself and others. And I'll just leave that at that. But those are the things that I've been reading. I also have some recommendations for reads. Anne Schraff, Schraff. Heard that she's a pretty good author, and she was recommended to me by a friend, and she does have a lot of books out. So I don't really know what kind of stories she writes, but it looks like she writes many stories. But that's definitely someone I'm going to check out soon. And I don't think there's anything else that I've been reading as of late outside of that, but those are definitely the things that if you guys are into history like I am, or just want to know history, then check it out and learn a little bit and be more informed. let's see. So, whew, man, we got a lot. I'm telling you, it's a lot to talk about today. Ah, man. But anyway, listen, if y'all need a break, get a break, pause the show, come back. I'll still be here, you know. So, hopefully, if you're at work or you're at a desk or you're driving in the car, you know, this ain't too boring for you. But anyway, so y'all know I opened up a business recently, and you know my business is doing pretty well, by the way. And I have some merch out right now. If y'all wanna go ahead and grab that, listen, I'm gonna have some podcast merch real soon, probably in like 2 or 3 weeks. I'm gonna have some hats and and maybe you know some shirts and stuff like that y'all can grab. But right now you could go to shopgiah.org and you can buy some of the collections that are out now. I'm gonna have a new lifestyle collection. Listen, y'all the only ones that know this. I ain't even tell nobody this yet though. But I'm gonna have the lifestyle collection because the lifestyle I live is it's a lifestyle. I don't just like I've been traveling and going places and doing things because I've been freeing my mind and I've been unlearning the things that was taught to me and seeking new truths and finding more valuable information to validate who I am as a person and my people as a culture and as a I guess as a nation. So it's a lifestyle that I live, and I got the lifestyle collection coming probably the second week of May. So y'all the ones that hear it first. But shit's gonna be fire. Just be on the lookout. But anyway, I said all that to say, it's a lot that goes on into a business, and you gotta really. I told y'all, like, it's not hard to start a business. It's not hard to form an LLC. It's not hard to form a corporation or whatever you want to form. Like, you really could just fill all the paperwork out yourself, because that's what I did. My friend, or not a friend, but someone I know. I had asked him about, how to start an LLC, and he pointed me to some website of some people that will do it for you, and it'll take 6 months, and they're going to charge you $350 to do it. Listen, I did all that shit, and I got all my paperwork back within a month. You know what I mean? So you don't have to, I'll reiterate this again, you don't have to pay nobody to fill out these forms that you can fill out yourself, because you know everything that you're going to fucking do. You know what you want your business to be called. You know where it's going to be located. You know what your business is about. You know who the owners are going to be. Like, all this stuff is information that is in your head that you can put in there yourself. So you don't have to pay nobody. And then the dude I told, like, somebody had told, like I said, the dude told me to pay some other people. I did the shit myself. And then I told somebody else, you could do it yourself, don't pay nobody. And then the boy went and paid somebody anyway to do the shit that he could have did himself. So it's like, I don't understand why. Like, I'm not going to stop trying to help people, but listen, you don't have to pay nobody to do it. It's just frustrating because I see people just, and I know he spent like $300, $400 on that. It's like, dude, like, just listen to what I'm saying. Like, have confidence in yourself. The worst thing that's going to happen is the government's going to say, this is wrong, do it over. You know what I mean? It's better than, I don't know. I'm a different dude, so I can't speak on what's best for other people. But anyway, a lot goes into running a business and things like that. So, I just filed my taxes because for my business, I have to file taxes quarterly. And I just filed my taxes, and I was a little apprehensive to do so because I'm just like, damn, this is kind of important. But it was really easy, yo. Like, to file your business taxes on Pennsylvania, you could do that shit for free, and you could do it right online. They have a website that you could just register your business, and as long as you have your EIN number and you have like your fucking tax ID number, your account ID, you can, all this stuff is easy, man. And I'm only telling y'all this because I don't want y'all to go out there and spend money on shit that is really easy. Like, if you know how to work in computer, you can file all these things yourself. If you're a veteran, you'll get some stuff done for free that you don't even have to pay. So, listen, just stay focused. If you have a vision for your business, just follow that vision. Create plans to keep that vision on par with whatever's going on. You may have setbacks where you can't get all the inventory, or you can't get the uh the product that you need right away, but that's okay. Just work with what you got. I mean, if you can only get if you're a fucking uh salesperson, or if you have a service that you provide to people, like you do nails or you do hair, and you only get a couple clients a month, and you're thinking about like whatever your worries and your concerns are, it's okay. You have to start somewhere. So even if you only have a couple customers in the first month, and you just feeling like, damn, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to sustain a business that you could later reap the benefits from. Just don't worry, because everything happens through time. You're not gonna fucking start off with 100 customers in your first month. It's just not realistic, because one, people don't probably know who you are, and people don't like to give you, for whatever reason, people don't like to give you their money. They rather give you their money to the big companies that are well established, which is weird to me, because I'd rather give my money to someone I know than to give it to someone I don't know. But I'm also a different breed, so I can't speak for everyone or think like everyone. But like I said, people are apprehensive to do business with you, because for whatever reason they're either jealous, or they think they're going to be in competition with you, or they don't want to support you, or whatever the reason may be. But you got to just believe in yourself first and foremost, even when times are rough. You just got to keep going, because listen, like it's I don't want to say that you have time, but I don't want to say you don't have time, because you do have time. But I don't want you to feel like you have all the time in the world, because it's not true. Yeah, I mean, I feel like I always had the mindset of like, oh, I have to do shit now because I might not be able to do it later. But really, if later comes, you'll still be able to do it. Like, if you're good at something now, you'll be good at it in 10 years as well. You'll be good at it in 20 years as well, as long as you stick through with it and you still going strong. I mean, you're not going to lose any following or any customers or any. You can only grow, as long as you continue to like do what you're supposed to do, and you're not like some type of sick ass person that you go around disrespecting people or saying things that are going to turn people off. Like, if you're trying to play the politically correct game, then you got to do that too. But I mean, just identify your customers, whatever you're like selling or whatever your service is, and try to figure out more about them and how they like to buy things, and when they like to buy things, and you got to advertise and promote to that demographic or the people that you're targeting. And you got to do your homework, and you got to do your due diligence. You can't just create a product and then try to sell it without any backing. And when I mean backing, I just mean like support. So if you have friends, or you got cousins, or you got family members, have them advertise your product or your service. It's free to post a fucking post on social media and just say, hey, this person has this. You know what I mean? And just keep doing it. Just keep reminding people that, hey, this person sells rims. This person sells rims every morning. This person sells rims. Hey, my buddy Frank sells rims. Frank sells rims. And now that the weather's getting nice and people are want to drive their cars and shit like that, and let's just say someone comes up with some money, and your post just pops up that day on their feed. Hey, Frank has rims. And they like, damn, I could use some rims on my car. Now they might hit you up and be like, yo, you sell rims, right? So, I mean, you never know when that opportunity is going to come, but you should always be prepared for it. Yeah, I mean, so just stay focused to all my business people, and don't quit on your vision. Don't get nervous when things aren't, moving how you thought they would move. You got to build yourself up and get to that point to where, I mean, you have regular customers, or you have people, coming back for your services. It's not going to happen overnight, but like I said, as long as you stay true to you and keep doing what you need to do, then, the results is going to come. Sometimes you might have to give away, something for free to get two people to come back and buy something from you. I mean, so you gotta figure it out, and you gotta be creative and find a way to get your message, your product, your service out there. So that's enough about that. Ah, man, we on the road today. Listen. I told you I'm the Lauryn Hill of this shit. Like, you don't know when you're gonna get a show, but when you get a show, it's gonna be a great show. You know what I mean? So we here now. New music. Listen, as for a person that loves music so much, I haven't really been listening to any music, yo. I just been on vacation. I just been living a different life than people. However, I did hear some good songs that I like, if that makes sense. So there's a song with Sonder and Georgia Smith. That song is really great, and I love that song. It looks like her and Chris Brown just dropped a song. I wonder how that is. It looks like Moneybagg Yo dropped a album. That's pretty cool. I'll probably check that out in the gym. Cordae dropped a little 4-pack called Just Until. I'm gonna definitely check that out because I like Cordae, and I think he said his album's coming out in the summer, so I'll be on the lookout for that. I know Conway. I think he dropped the album. I didn't check that out yet either because, like I said, I've been on vacation, man. But yeah, man. I mean, hopefully, more music continues to come out. I'm gonna go to the studio here shortly soon. I just got back from vacation, so I'm gonna try to schedule a studio date and set some shit out. However, I think actually my bandmate Val, I think Val put out a song called "Not Another Love Song," and let me verify that because I think she did. I think she did. Maybe she didn't. Not another love song. Not another love song. I don't know. I'm gonna have to get back to y'all on that. But I had seen that she said she was going to. But yeah, I'm gonna drop some more songs here shortly. Like I said, I've been working low key. I've been taking trips to get my mind right, keep my mind at peace, and so I can think clearly and focus. And I've been taking trips because that's where my mind is at its best, So, I recommend y'all take a vacation, especially, it's been a long couple of years with this pandemic. We working on year 2. So, listen, my friend, she told me that she ain't been on vacation in like 7 years, yo, and it's just like, damn, like I just been on like 4 vacations in the past 3 months, 2 months, you know what I mean? So, definitely get out there and take a break from all the craziness that's going on for sure. Because it's needed, man. It's needed to just get away. Facts. But I'm going to wrap this up here soon. I'm going to just go on some sports topics. And then we're going to get up out of here. So, NFL, anything in NFL news. I think basically they just did like I seen some rule changes that occurred. Nothing too crazy, nothing too like, nothing that's gonna like that you really have to worry too much about. It's still gonna be like the same game. Not much is gonna change as far as your regular football game. It's still gonna look like a regular football game. It's been a lot of news around the draft. Which quarterbacks is going, who's taking who's trading up. Listen, I don't really care about none of that stuff until the draft actually happens. So when the draft comes, then I'll care more about it, because all right now this is just rumors and speculation without any actual facts. So that's that. I haven't heard anything about the Deshaun Watson situation. I haven't seen anything in the news on ESPN about it. So who knows what's going on with that? Is it still a case? Is it still a situation? I don't know. I seen that for the Olympics, the Tokyo Olympics, that got pushed back. I think it was supposed to happen last year, but it got pushed back to this year. They said that people will face punishment if they decide to protest during the Olympics. However, there was like a group that supports the Olympic athletes, and that group basically said that any athletes that decide to protest, and they will have full legal support backing them. And I think it just kind of goes to show you that how white supremacy still dominates the world here, because how you can't even raise a fist. Did you know that? Like, you can't raise a fist at the Olympics, or you could face consequences for that. A fist. Like, if you got your I remember seeing who was it? It was one of the athletes for the Olympics. I'm pretty sure I seen them with their fist raised, with their medal on around their neck. And this was a while ago. But yeah, man, you can't even raise a fist. You can't say Black Lives Matter, which is, listen, I don't even like the idea of Black Lives Matter. Let me not say that. I don't like what it is now. I don't like what it is today, because now it's like people look at it as it's a political statement, and it's not a political statement. Like, someone's life should not be political. I don't like the politics that are involved with this shit, and I don't like that. I feel like these organizations, they get money and they get funding by black people, and people they put their all into these organizations to protect us and to save us and to look out for us. But these organizations get infiltrated by people that don't have our best interests, or that aren't in favor for us for real, like the NAACP, for instance, which is probably a good organization, but it was funded by a white guy. You know what I mean? So it's like, what organization, like, is the organization really for us if it's not started by us? I mean, it's just food for thought. I don't know. What do I know? Anyway, outside of that, a lot of NBA news been happening. A lot of injuries been happening. James Harden just got set back. He just got hurt again. Kevin Durant ain't come back yet. So the Nets just been balling with Kyrie. And, I mean, they've been winning some games, but they also lost a couple. But, I mean, the injuries, it might hurt the Nets' chances to get to the finals. Those three only ever played 7 games together, and I think they probably won like 5 of those games. But I mean, you know how important chemistry is in basketball. Like, you got to really build that, and you got to play as a team. You got to be able to feel what each other is doing, and stuff like that. And I'm sure they played a lot together, but it's different when you're in a 7-game series, so I don't know how that's going to fare for them when there's only like 13 games left. So we'll see what happens there. I know on fucking Ben Simmons on the Philly, on the Sixers, he just got hurt recently. So Joel Embiid been out there balling by himself, and I mean, they won a few games, but I think they lost their last 2 or 3. I mean, Joel Embiid been, if I had to pick, that would be my MVP for this year, because I mean, he got the Sixers in the number 1 seed, and he's been playing like he's the best center in the league. He's been playing like he wants it, so I think he deserves it, unless they just completely fall off these last uh 17 games, then I think he should get it because LeBron been hurt and they're like in the fifth seed now. Like I said, James Harden. I don't think anybody on the Nets deserve it because they got an all-star squad. Giannis. I mean, I think they're like the third seed, but I'll be damned if Giannis gets another freaking MVP. Jokic. I heard some Jokic talk from some analysts on TV. I just don't see how they can give Jokic the MVP when, yeah, I just don't see it because, yeah, they just lost Jamal Murray, and he's 4-0 since Jamal Murray been gone, but what about since Jamal Murray been there? Like, you can't say that was all Jokic, you know what I mean? So, I don't see how he would get it unless they went like 12-0, 12-1, like their last few games and caught the first seed. Then it's like, all right, maybe. But, yeah, man, Kawhi Leonard, I don't see him getting it. He missed a lot of games, and he ain't been playing like no MVP. Paul George, he missed a lot of games, and I couldn't say that he's been really playing like an MVP as well. I mean, he's been playing well, but MVP worthy, I don't know about that. I don't know, because I think they're in the fourth seed, so, or maybe they're in the third, I don't know, but it's not like, yeah, I just don't see it. You can't really give Paul George that credit to, nah, I don't know. Like I said, if I had to choose, I would give it to Joel Embiid. But my Knicks been definitely, listen, we won like 6 straight in the past 8 out of 9. I don't know what Coach Thibodeau's been doing. I don't know what the organization's been doing, but I love it. I'm here for it. Obviously, they making it to the playoffs, so y'all just might see me on T. If I think they got fans at the Garden, and I never been to a Knick game yet, but this year might be the year I finally make it there, and inshallah, hopefully, I make it there. So, yeah, man, I'm excited. I'm just excited for the playoffs. It'll be here in a few weeks, and we're gonna see who makes it from the play-in, because I think like the seeds 6 through 10 have to play in for them last few spots, and then like the top 5 automatically make it. So it's gonna be interesting to see who makes it on the East and West, because we got the West. They got the Warriors, they got the Grizzlies, they got the Blazers in like the 5th right now, but they lost the last couple of games with Lillard out, so they might be in 6th now. They got the Mavericks down there, the Spurs down there. Suns is higher up. So yeah, we got those teams, and it's gonna be interesting to see who makes it and who don't. And then the East, I think we got like the Wizards down there, the Bulls down there. I don't think the Celtics is down there. The Hornets, I think, is down there. The Heat's down there in like the bottom of the standings. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see. Like I said, who makes the play-in, because I think the play-in's only one game for real. So I don't know, man. I don't know. But let me run through my list and see if there's anything else I forgot. I'll save that for next time. So yeah, man. Listen. Again, thank y'all for tuning in. Thank y'all for listening and checking me out. I really appreciate y'all. And yeah, man, I really appreciate y'all for checking me out and sticking with me. Listen, we're gonna do better than we've been doing. And, I'm gonna take this podcast to the next level through y'all and through y'all support. And we're gonna grow, and we're gonna become something that we ain't even ever think we're gonna become. Soon I'm gonna have some callers that y'all can call in and have visions for the pod. So, I'm still working on, just the equipment and figuring everything out. Because like I said, I have this stuff, and I've just been on vacation, so I haven't had much time to sit with it and try to figure it out. And I'm going to be busy this weekend doing some other things. So it's all good because we only 13 episodes in, um, and before you know it, we're gonna be at 40, we're gonna be at 60, we're gonna be at 100 episodes, and things is gonna be much different than they are now. I trust the process, and I know that I'll do my absolute best to take this where it needs to be. Hope everybody just stays focused on building themselves and becoming better people, educating themselves from you know to just to know more so you can do more and you can be more than who you are now. Exercise is the key to health and a long life. Um, and I don't say that like jokingly. Like exercise truly is like the key. Um, so the things that you do now at this age, whether you're in early adulthood, whether you're in like middle adulthood, um, it's gonna have an effect on later adulthood, and if you're healthy or not, if you can move or not, if you're happy or not, if you're satisfied with life or not, um, if you have problems with like smoking too much or drinking too much, you gotta nip those things in the butt now because, like I said, if you can manage uh, your alcohol intake, your smoking intake, the amount of you exercise, the food that you consume, if you can manage all those things, then you'll set yourself up for a long, uh, happy, healthy life. Um, don't feel like you have to do everything now because you don't. Uh, I think fucking Tyler Perry, he was broke up until he was like 40 or something like that. Oprah was broke up until she was late in age. Uh, Einstein didn't figure that whole light bulb shit out until he was like 50. Um, Even though, people in ancient times had light way before Einstein, but, they give the credit to these white people. Uh, and, Steve Jobs, he was much older when he figured out whatever the fuck he figured out. So as long as you maintain your skills and you keep feeding yourself knowledge and information, as you grow old and as you age, you're not going to lose a step. You're not going to lose a beat. And as long as you exercise, work out, at least, like 30 minutes a day with aerobic exercise, running, swimming, jogging, biking, 30 minutes strength exercise, um, build up your smart cells and your muscles and everything will be fine, So listen, take care of yourself, take care of your mental health, eat the right foods, take care of your family, your friends, your loved ones. Read. Try not to watch so much TV. Read a book. Do some yoga, some meditating. Focus on your breathing and your energy. And yeah, man. Anything's possible, man. Like I said again, thank y'all for tuning in. It's been a pleasure. It's your boy Omar, and I'm out. Till next time. Love.